let you finish school?
Yes, if I could finish the school. Well, I went to Bucharest, and I was studying, and for the vacation I used to come home, and we saw each other. And then I think we didn't get engaged officially, just like, and then his mother came for an engagement, and I was coming from Bucharest, and coming, like, from the boat. It's a long, how you say? A pier, a dock, a long that you have to walk like between the ship and the port. Okay, you had to walk. Naturally, the ship, Kilia, all the people we know. For all the people, I was Shurachka. Nobody would think that I am not a little girl, like people who were coming there. And we were talking and laughing. And then, when we left, and I saw him and his mother, I don't know if his mother was then. Yes, I think she was. I don't remember. No, I don't think his mother maybe was. She was earlier. He took me. We took a carriage. And he made me a scene of jealousy. Well, he was. Why did he saw me? Why did people were... I was laughing and talking with other people while I was coming back, and then, I say, you know what? If you are jealous, I don't want to get married. I don't want to get engaged. And what it was at that time, the mayor of the city was waiting for us to write. Those was supposed to be not an official, how you call it, one in paper, an engagement. How do you call this? Civil engagement. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to the city hall, and I don't get married. I don't...
This was the day that you were supposed to do it?
Yes. Like I was supposed to go, supposed to come home to take my parents and to go to... I say, I'm not going. I don't want to marry you. You are jealous, and I don't need it. Well, it was a big shock for the whole town. And I know across the street from us was Mr. Weinberg, the older man. And he came and he said, Shurachka, Dr. Wald is so unhappy. Why don't you marry him? And he loves you so much. I said, no, he's jealous, and I don't want to have a jealous husband. And this was the end. You ask me.
How did your mother meet him originally?
Dr. Wald. Because he was coming to the pharmacy.
Okay.
He was coming. She knew him. He was coming. He introduced himself that he just came to work there, to practice, to work. And naturally, she saw a young man who is lost. She tried to be more,
Now let me ask you something. Was he the man who taught you a little bit about electro things, or who was it that taught you about different kinds of stimulus in the face?
Oh no, this was many years after. This was many years. Forget about this for a moment. I'll tell you. We are back to the engagement and to the. So I went back to Bucharest, and all my friends knew that I tear off the engagement. How to say? I neutralized. broke it, exactly. And everybody tried to cheer me up. And Bella, you know Bella, my friend, she took me, she said, let's go to my aunt and uncle. Her aunt and uncle, and her aunt, if I remember well, was also a student. But her uncle was already a lawyer. And we went on a Sunday there for lunch. And also, they were friends with Selma, with your grandfather. And he came also there Sunday. And they said, like, they want to make a cook. A cook means, like, to look at each other. What they, like, they want to pair us, you know?
Yeah. Why do they call it a cook?
Cook. Like, cook means not a cook cooking. A cook in Jewish means to look. You should see each other.
Did they tell you that?
Yes, they told me. I think so. I'll never forget. I was talking to Selma, and this Rubin was his name. Rubin got in the back of Selma and made me signs with the face if I like him. So I put my face on the side and I made like no. And then we decided, this was in the morning for about 12 o'clock. Then we decided to go to, it was a very big, like Lake Ontario here. But there was the music, and it was, it was like people used to come to, like we had supper there, and walking around, like any lake, where there are restaurants and views. And we were talking, and so then it was already late home, to go home. So they said, Selma said, well, or rather Rubin said, let's go home already, it's late, and tomorrow I have a case. Yes, Selma said, I also have a case tomorrow. What court? What court? Because so Selma said, what court? And the 5th. Rubin said, I have also 5th. Who is your client? Petrescu. So what they discovered that they were adversaries in the same case. So they say, you know what? Let's settle and postpone it tomorrow. So we'll postpone it tomorrow, and this way we can sit longer. Anyhow, we were sitting, then we took back the streetcar naturally, and in the streetcar, Selma told me, I like you very much, but I don't love you yet. And then we start seeing each other. I was living at Nora. You know Alina and Nora?
Before you tell me that, Reuben asked you before that if you liked so much early in the day, and you
Yes.
said no.
No.
Why? What made you change your mind?
I didn't change my mind. Selma said that he loves me, he likes me very much, but he doesn't love me.
Why did you continue to see him?
Well, he was, why? I don't know. He was nice. He was interesting, and so I saw, and more I know, I saw him, I liked him. And so what happened is, by that time, I was living at Nora's house. Nora, her parents couldn't get married earlier because her father didn't make enough money, and her parents wouldn't allow her. Then something, I don't know, I think what happened, anyhow, the parents got married. But Nora came very late in their life, so they wanted to have another girl living, so they rented me a room. And it was very interesting. We have all kinds of rooms, but one room was Turkish, like in Turkey. Everything was like Turkish carpets, Turkish, like in the middle there were couches, special couches, like in Turkey, that you just, not a real couch, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain, but in the middle, around the couch, it was a dish where they put, to make it warm, they put coal in, something for a ritual. I never saw the ritual, they didn't do it, but the dish was there. And when you used to get into this room, you had to remove your shoes, because this was exactly this. And with Nora we became very good friends also. Finally, I was looking for a room, and her parents were looking for a student, for a girl. Apparently for a nice girl, and they chose me. Anyhow, one day, I heard a noise from outside my room, and I heard Dr. Wald's voice. He found out my address, and he came to claim me. And I got under the cupboard, under the pillow, and they were very smart, and they said that I'm not there. And then he came the next day, and we went to a theater in a bus, in a streetcar. And there at a certain station, I ran out of the streetcar, and he lost me.
Why was he looking for you?
He wanted to claim me. He wanted to say that he still loves me, that he wants to get married, that we were supposed to get married. And so, and I got up, and it happened that the theater was called Queen Mary Theater, Regina Maria. And it was just next to the court. So I went there. Naturally, I didn't find Shoma. He wasn't in the court. It's not. But,
Were you looking for someone?
well, I don't know. I thought maybe I'll find another lawyer that I know. I was looking, I was shaken by the gesture I made, to run away from him.
Why wasn't someone in the court?
No, I thought that he has a case just then. By chance. It was a matinee, in the afternoon. Yes. And no, I was looking. I didn't know where to go. And there I know. I can hide there for an hour or two, so sit down or what. I don't know. Yes. Anyhow, after that, I don't know. I don't think I saw him anymore. And Shamat got closer and closer, and then we got married.
When did your feelings start to change for someone?
Well, I just started to like him, that's all.
And when did you start to love him?
Well, I don't remember. That's a very hard question to. If I say something, I want to be sure. So, this is what it was. And
his parents had passed away, or his father had passed away.
his father passed away.
Tell me about Papa Soma, because I don't. Tell me about his
remember, I was passing my exams. It was on a Sunday, and I had to pass the exams for license, which were very, very hard. And it was a commission of I don't know how many professors. And funny part was, and it was a very hot day, very hot. And the lab where we were working, it was just impossibly hot. And I got the prescription to make suppositories. And apparently, in order to make suppositories, they have to be stronger. Like you add cocoa butter. And they didn't catch because it was so hot. So I carried a lot. I put in a lot of cocoa butter. And when the professor, who was examining what we did each to each, he came to me. My goodness, he said, here you have for, I don't know if he said it or I was thinking that I have for a horse, not for a bus. But he said, you have a lot. Like you made them very big. So I said, that's okay. I took with my hand up a part of it. And I stuck it under the table. And he laughed. And he left. Then, because anyhow, when to give the note, he gave me a very good note. He liked my gesture, my cheating. And then, when I passed the oral exams, there were a lot of professors. And by the way, one of the professors was, you see, Shoma was working by the time as a lawyer for a very big hospital. And his chief, I forgot his name, the hospital was called Dr. Antonio Hospital. But his chief there, and he was leaving Shoma in the hospital, and there were a lot of doctors, and one woman doctor was in love with him. And one of his chiefs was friend with the professor, with my professor, the pharmacy. And so I thought Shoma will tell him, but Shoma didn't say anything to him. Look, my wife, but then we were married. My wife was passing exams with Dr. Martinescu. So, but Shoma didn't say anything, I think. He should speak to the professor, to his friend. They should see I should pass, because it was very well known that it's very hard to get into the pharmacy. The exams were very serious. So when they started to ask me questions, I answered. And they passed me. I don't know if the other said something or not, if he knew, but I passed. Oh no, now I remember. They were also asking me about potassium and sodium. Those are two metals, two substances actually, that are going, one is positive, let's say, and another is negative, So he said, so doc, tell me about potassium. So I said all what is it belong to the potassium. And then I said, no, it's just opposite. It's just the sodium. So you see, it was another professor. He said, you see, you don't know anything. So I started to cry. Because he said, so my friend Lorica, you know her, you met her, huh? She went outside, Chama was waiting outside. She ran outside and she said, oh, they asked something, sure, and sure I was crying there. With the old professors, I started to cry. So another professor, the one that saw me putting the thing, oh no, he said, don't worry, you knew very well everything. You know very well everything, so don't worry. So this is how I became a pharmacist.
Now, you told me once something about one of the professors wearing, there was a blue coat or something.
Oh yes, this was the one in the blue coat that came to
Right.
ask me.
But you didn't know he was a professor?
I didn't know he was, exactly. I didn't know he was a professor.
Okay.
He was, why? Because he didn't have his white coat. So he took an assistant's coat, blue. So I got the blue coat, so I say, okay, don't worry, I'll just put it this way.
When did you realize that he was a professor?
At the exams,
At the oral exam.
the oral exam.
So you didn't know that?
I didn't.
So you must have been really surprised when you saw him there.
And how?
Yes.
So this was my youth.
Yeah.
And,
So,
okay? Wait a second, let me think. Wait. After I passed the exams, I had to look for a job. I wasn't. You see what it was? At the exams, they were very strict, as you could see, because the government gave only permission to, let's say 1,000 population, one pharmacy, or 10,000 population. I don't know the number. One pharmacy. That was the reason why they were very severe. They were very severe with having new pharmacists. They wanted to have approximately a small number. So after I passed the exams, I had to look where to work in a pharmacy. And we had, I don't remember how many a year, 2 years or 3 years to work in a pharmacy. And then pass other exams to have the right, pass the government exams to have the right to open your own pharmacy. That's why it was, you can imagine how strict it was. I found a place in a pharmacy which was just next to the Royal Palace. And it was on the main street. And it was interesting to, Now, by that time, and a year after that, I think, after I started to work, I don't remember exactly. Shema, because he passed his doctor degree in law, and he was enrolled as an officer. Is it you say in English officer? In the army. By that time, the war started, and he was called to the border as an officer there. And I remained alone in Bucharest, working in the pharmacy and going home, and that was my life. It was during the summer. This also, I'm telling you things that are so imprinted in my life. I cannot forget, you know, you see the story with the exam. So it was a very, very hot day, terribly hot. And I had to go for lunch in the from the pharmacy. Somebody else remained. And I went for lunch to a small restaurant where we used to go with Shema, where they had those, they called them like hot dogs. But in Romania, they are specially made, they're made only outside on a broiler, and they are called mititei, tiny ones. This is mititei. With Shema and with the friends, I don't know if I told you before a story how I met Shema and how did I tell you that story. So when we used to go out or what, Shema used to take a beer. I told you the story with beer, but I never took. But what I always had is one sip from his glass. This was my portion. But that day, when I went to the restaurant alone, I ordered those mititei, and I wanted very much a drink. So I ordered beer. But beer, they had different sizes of glasses. With each of glass had a different name, each shape. I didn't know what he was ordering. So apparently, not apparently, for sure, I ordered the largest one. Like a mug here, but a big, big mug. So this mug would be good for a vase for flowers, you know. Huge mug. And it was hot. And I was thirsty, so I had a drink. And I drank a lot. Probably all of it or half of it was too much for me. Well, when I came to the pharmacy, I hardly could walk. And then the person who replaced me had to go on his tour. And I remained alone. Even now, I get goose pimples when I think of it. People were coming with prescriptions, and I didn't know. I didn't have confidence of making the prescription. If it would happen that one of the prescription would have forbidden, like morphine or as it could be, and I didn't know, what can I do? All alone there. Well, the hour or 2 hours passed, but even now, whenever I think of it, I get scared. Because we had to be very, you understand, very precise. In fact, we had a friend, a pharmacist, when he was weighing, when he was weighing something like poison, he wasn't weighing on the table where I made prescription. He was sitting on the floor and weighing only on the floor. A little drop shouldn't fall somewhere. You know, it was very strict. So, and then the time passed. Shoma didn't come back. I think I went there where he was for a week or so. And then he was finished. He was like sent home because they used to take for a certain amount. And we were in Bucharest. The war was going on. Shoma was doing his work. I was doing my work. Till slowly we realized, and everybody, that the Germans are getting closer.
Fair enough. So looking back, what year was that roughly? Talk us through it.
What year it was? Wait, I finished in 37.
From university.
Yes, the exams. Probably was 38, 39.
So,
It was 39, I think.
and how long were you with Shoma away?
In the army? Well, a couple, because they used to call them and change them around. So I don't know. I don't see no time.
So 1939, when the war was...
No. The war?
Roughly.
I don't have even who to ask, you know,
Okay.
who is my... In 39, it broke, the Germans started to go, you know. It was in 39. So when we saw that the Germans are coming...
Did you know that they were coming towards...
Well, sure, we knew. We knew that the German army was advancing. They advanced toward they wanted to conquer, to go to Russia. So they had to pass through Romania, and generally they occupied by passing from Germany. They occupied Poland, they occupied Czechoslovakia. They went ahead. So then we decided that they were very close. It's dangerous. And we decided then to go to the left. Left meant to Russia. Like my parents were living in Bessarabia. So we went to Bessarabia. We took just a few things. Well, I want to know what year was Alina born? What year? 41.
41?
Mm-hmm. So I'll have to make a, like to figure out. Because by that time, you don't look at the years, what year are you in, to know what happens. We were married and living in Bucharest. My parents were living in Bessarabia.
How many hours away was that? How did you get there?
How did we get there? To Bessarabia we could go by train from Bucharest to Galați. Galați was the town where I studied. Did I tell you anything about my studies? My school?
Yes, you did. You did with the nuns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did tell me. Yeah.
And to this town, Galați. There, we had to board a ship and to take us on the Danube till Kilia. Because Kilia was there were 3 arms. Do you say arms? That come, do you say fingers? Like it was Danube that went into the Black Sea through 3 fingers. Is it fingers you say? Huh?
I do.
No, but you have to know exactly.
I think
So we went to home, to Bessarabia. Luba went a little bit before. Luba was there studying, and then when found out, she ran home. And so we went to Galați, and from Galați we took the boat to go home. To Bessarabia.
which is a city.
No, Bessarabia is a province, like Quebec.
Okay. And what was the name of the town?
And Bessarabia, the name of the town was Kilia, Noah.
Your parents were still there?
My parents were still there. But it started already to be very unsure, very... you see, when one army is coming and the other is going, it's not such a... But I don't remember how long. We came there, and I think we didn't stay too long. because we didn't have what to do there. So we took, in a few days maybe, we took a car, somebody took us, to go to Kishinev. Kishinev was down where Syoma was when he grew up. He was there. I don't know how long he was. Yes, he was there with Malvina and Celia were living there. Celia wasn't living in Kishinev. Malvina was living in Kishinev. Her husband was a chief doctor of one of the biggest hospitals there. So we decided we went there. It took us 2 or 3 days by car, which was, who knows, an old car. But we arrived there. We didn't have too many things. We just had a little bit, with us a little bit of clothes. Didn't count. And there we looked for a room, or we rented a room. Now everything passes through my eyes, you know. And Syoma looked, and he started to work like he was accepted as a lawyer. And I was looking for a pharmacy. And I was accepted at a pharmacy in a hospital which was out of town. So I had every day, I had to travel far to the pharmacy and back. Well, I don't remember. I don't know. Like far, an hour or so. But then I changed and I got a pharmacy. Then I changed when they allowed me to change, when I became pregnant with Alina. So they understood that I shouldn't travel so far. And I was working in a very nice, with a very big pharmacy. And funny was, the guy, you see, the pharmacies were open 48 hours, some of them. So some people who were working during the night, they were free during the day, some guys. So they were taking tours, going from one pharmacy to another, to meet their colleagues and to speak. With me, they saw already that I am pregnant. So if something, they said, this is for your little girl. Everybody knew I'll have a girl. I wanted a girl. And yes. Then in the meantime, my parents the Russian came to occupy where my parents were. The pharmacy was, just a second, let me find the word, was taken from them.
By the Russians?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, they said, come on, we don't have, because pharmacist was more or less a rich man should be, you know, bourgeois, like they called. So they said, you go. They threw him out, and they took our house. Like before even they took it, they brought in people, because it was a big house of my parents. They brought in people to live in one room and then another room. They populated the house.
Your parents were still there?
Yes.
Did you go back and live with your parents?
No. We just came for a day or two, and we took the car.
Why didn't you go back and live with your father?
No. It was not.
Why?
No, because Emma wouldn't have what to do as a lawyer. Listen, it was a tiny little town.
No, but why didn't you go back and work with your father in the pharmacy?
No.
Why?
Because Sema wanted to go to Chisinau where he could be a lawyer. And I...
No, but when you came back to your town,
Yes.
when you went back, when you heard that the Germans were coming,
Yes.
you went back to your hometown.
Yes.
And you said you got a job an hour outside of your town. Did you?
What?
You said you got a job an hour.
No, outside of my town.
Oh.
Outside of Chisinau.
Oh, you didn't.
Right. We stayed a day or two.
Oh, okay.
And then we took the car. No. And we went to Chisinau.
Okay.
There we looked for a house.
Okay, you settled.
And we set a house. We couldn't have a house. We had a room.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I got pregnant. And I was moved, like, from far to more comfort.
Did you know the Russians were coming?
Well, we knew that the Russians are coming. We knew that the Germans are coming from both sides. Sure, the Russians already came and they occupied and they wanted to make communism, to bring the communism into the... So when we arrived in Chisinau, as I told you, I got pregnant, and the friends who were also pharmacists working, like coming and visiting us, used to say, this is something. Yes, what it was when I was pregnant, I ate a lot of carrots and apple. And it was always a plate of... So I said, take some. Oh, no, they said, that's for your little girl. And then, when I had Alina, she was maybe... Wait a second. 22 июня. The 22nd of June, they started to bomb. And Alina was born on 19th of April. So April, May, June. She was 2 months old. And we had to hide. So in Chisinau was, all Bessarabia, had a lot of wineries, wines. And they had cellars for wine. And when they were bombing, I had a nurse for Alina. She kept her. I didn't know too much how to handle a baby, especially under those conditions. So she was sitting with her outside, and it was bombing. I said, come on to the cellar. Finally, she left me, and I was looking for a room, like we came to a cellar, and I was looking for a room where there were not too many people, and there where I settled with Alina, took just a few diapers and what, but as much as he could carry. And I remember, did I stop for a second? Well, it was the first night when we were in the cellar. And naturally, we took whatever we could take from the house to it was a huge cellar underground. And I made my bedding on the floor with Alina next to me. I'll never forget, in the middle of the night, I got up and I looked to the right, or I put Alina on the left, and I couldn't find her because it was dark. I remember the panic I was in. Everything in life had proved there that it was a chance. Like a bomb fell in the cellar. That night, or maybe next night, I don't remember how many nights. But it was on the other side that we were. when I was going through the cellar looking for where I should put my bed on the floor, I could have stayed there was more people. It was somehow more, pleasant, probably pleasant if the word is right. But I went far when nobody was. There the bomb fell first. Then I don't remember where my parents were. They couldn't find their room in Kishinev when they were thrown out from that little town of ours. So they found a room in a little town. And besides this, in Kishinev they wouldn't be accepted because they were bourgeois, which means bourgeois is a word for well-to-do people. So they wouldn't be allowed even. The police would throw them out. So they stayed in a small town. Luba was staying, I think, with them or with me, I cannot remember. And in a day or two after that, Luba went and the Russians were occupying the whole town and coming. Luba was going, but in the meantime, I forgot to tell you, before the Germans went close, a cousin of ours, did I tell you about him? A cousin of ours came from Odessa because the family was in Odessa, which Odessa was Ukraine, and it was separated by a river, Dniester, from Bessarabia. Can I start? Anyhow, in Bessarabia, we had all the family, in Russia, in Ukraine, which was Odessa, and we had a lot of all the family. So a cousin of ours, who was a professor in a military school in Leningrad, came, he had vacation, he came to meet his family. And he met Luba. He met all of us, but he met Luba and they fell in love. So they decided to get married. So, but to get married, he had to go back. In any case, he had to go back to Leningrad. Sasha. He went back to Leningrad and to make papers officially to bring his bride from Bessarabia to Leningrad. So in the meantime, Luba was waiting, but she had papers that she's engaged or a bride of an officer. He was officer then. He was a teacher in the military school, an officer also, named. So she was a bride of an officer. So when we saw what's going on, the house were bombed, and so Luba went outside on the street, and wherever she saw, not wherever, she saw cars, like with military men. So she stopped one car. Hey, you, take us, please. I have my family. Take us till the airport, till the railway station. So they took us. You know, we didn't have any other transport, but she was beautiful and she had a lot of, courage. So they took us to the railroad station. And there we were waiting for a train. And because she had this, like, the situation as a wife, as a future wife, we stopped, we went into a private, like not a train with, just a normal train, not a train be transported by car. A passenger train, that's what the word I was looking for. And we were traveling towards Odessa. Now, I have to remember. Stop a little. You see, David, when from the cellar, we could, like during the day, we could go home. Home was, we had one room. And that room then, Luba brought my parents, and she, and this how from there, she went to look, and she stopped a car to take us to the station. So we were together with my parents, going to, so we took a car that went to Odessa. And there, during the traveling, which I don't know how many hours it took or what, it stopped. Because not only did it stop, yes, it stopped. No. Because they took the locomotive. They needed for a military train. So it could not advance. And I don't. Anyhow, so a lot of people were playing, came out of the train. No, to Odessa we went straight, I'm sorry. What I want to tell you what happened was later on, because it was a different train. So we arrived to Odessa.
Is this Mary was there?
No, he was killed. He was killed. She never saw him again. In Odessa, we found out the address. We knew where Papa's sister was living. And Rosa is her name. And we went to them. And also, it was before that, in the meantime, when we were in Chisinau, it was another cousin that was a very big personality in Odessa. He was the chief of the Komsomol. You know, Komsomol is the youth organization of the youth, and he was chief. So he came also to look us up, and we met him. So when we came to Odessa, we saw the whole family. So a few days, we were enjoying, though the Germans bombed, and they started to get closer. And one day, I want to hear. Okay, I cannot hear. Okay, and one day, they bombed very badly, and we had to, we ran downstairs, and we were staying in the, like, in Odessa, they have, like, houses. Around the houses are fence, so it makes kind of a court, and we were staying in that court, protecting ourselves from the bombs. But what happened, for no reason, I said, no, let's cross the street, let's come across. A minute later, a bomb fell there where we were. You know, it means so much. I don't know how to call it, really. The fate, let's put it. Who was of instinct or so. So let's cross without thinking of what I am saying. And then we went again to the railroad station, and there we took the first train who was going toward the depth, because we were in Ukraine, which is in Russia already, which was going into the depth of Russia. And that it was a train that the kettles are. And again, we were there, and after a while, I don't know, next day or when it happened, it's not easy to remember. They stopped the train because they needed the engine, to take the engine. So we were there stopped, and luckily we had small things, I don't know what, that then some farmers came to the train asking if you want milk or bread, or I don't know, offering us. And what we had, maybe a comb, maybe on, for any, it was in Russia, for any little thing so we got something. And then, all of a sudden, the Germans came over our heads. We were in the train by that time. There were two little girls in front of the train playing, staying outside, holding by hands. That's how they were holding by their hands. The German plane came low, just with a, how to say, just with a little, they were, give me the word for they used, not a bomb, they used a gun, just with a gun. They shot the two little girls. Sure. And a bomb, my mother was sitting on a pail. It was a pail there. She was sitting on a pail, so a bomb passed through the pail, through underneath. We saw all this. And then the train was, they gave back the engine, and the train was continuing to go. And it went and went. The Russian, what they have is at each station, they have boiling water. Like anybody could come and take boiling water for tea. So that's what we had, the boiling water. Funny part was, I forgot to tell you, in Odessa, the 2-3 days we were, I didn't have Alina on what to keep her, a carriage or what. So I went and I bought a basket for bagel. How you call it, bagel? Bagel. How? Tell me different. That's how they say? Yes. Yes. Okay. I bought a basket that they used to sell bagels. And I made her a bed in it. And on this she slept. It was a straw one. In Russian they say bubliki. And since the bubliki is something that they respect a lot and they liked a lot and they ate probably a lot. And so that's how I had her. Anyhow, the train was going. And then it arrived at the place and it said to everybody to get off the train because they need it. So and it stopped at the station where it was just the men who directed the trains. So we got up there and Others maybe got up a little later or what. We got up there. And it was my mother, my father, my husband, Selma, Alina, myself. And we didn't know what to do. You are nowhere. They needed the train to transport other people, to transport to the, who knows what they needed. We don't ask. You know, nobody tells you. So we carry with us blankets and things like this, you know. Maybe we had a pillow, maybe not. Anyhow, we were on the station. I'll never forget that woman. And I slept on the floor. And the woman, the wife,